Two members of the cult connected to at least 6 suspicious deaths have been arrested in Maryland. Fox 45 Jeff Sable takes us through the Zizian cult and the people behind it.
Yeah, I didn't exactly have a cult of transgender women being responsible for 6 homicides across the country that are also vegans and anti-artificial intelligence, by the way, on my bingo card. But what we are being presented by Fox 45 Baltimore is exactly that story. And that's what we're going to get into today. But before we break this down, before we talk about this, I just want to say thank you to everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
Well, federal authorities recently launched a manhunt for one of the members of this group. But tonight, that manhunt is over.
So first of all, I just want to say right off the top, because this is absolutely the most important element of the story, and that is to you, Mr. Jeff Abel, or Jeff Abel with 2 L's from Fox 45 Baltimore, there is no reason at all whatsoever to misgender the members of this transgender serial killer cult. This is not a manhunt, this is a they hunt, and we are not going to tolerate at all whatsoever your transphobia. And honestly, genuinely, I wish we lived in European nations where people commit heinous, disgusting, horrible crimes, and then the police end up arresting people who make mild comments about those criminals on the internet.com for hate speech, and they end up getting sentenced to longer periods of time than the actual criminals themselves. Again, no excuse for the transphobia. We had a nationwide they hunt, not a manhunt. Respect the pronouns because it's more important than the 6 people that are dead. And I am not obviously being serious about this, but I'm sure somebody out there in the world is very angry, very furiously typing under the comments of this segment that it's inappropriate to describe them in this way. But of course, obviously, we have 6 kills, 1 attempted murder that ultimately ended up, from what I can glean from this report, resulted in a completed murder later on. And it's absolutely crazy how this went down. And by the way, included in the victims is a Border Patrol agent that was in and around the Vermont-Canadian border.
The leader and another member have been found right here in Maryland. Their friends say those in the cult-like group are not only highly intelligent, but also highly armed. And in the past 5 years, they've been tied to 6 killings, another attempted murder, and last month's shooting death of Border Patrol agent David Milan.
Now look, obviously, because I am a very, very progressive member of the internet commentary community on the internet.com, I don't know the difference between men and women at all whatsoever. What is a woman? My answer is, can you ask me another time? But to me, getting into a shootout with a Border Patrol agent and ultimately end up killing that Border Patrol agent does not scream feminine behavior. Now, of course, that could just be my internalized transphobia. That could just be all the different bigotries that I hold deep in my little baby heart. But the fact of the matter is, it seems like there's some masculine energy going on right here. But again, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I hope these people get sent to a women's prison, because obviously they're shown to be horribly and destructively violent, but we would dareth not want to put them in a male prison, because that would be bigotry and transphobia. We must respect the Zizian transes cult, because that's all we need to do.
The officer was shot dead in an exchange of gunfire 20 miles from the Canadian border. It happened during a traffic stop where the 2 armed women inside the vehicle are linked to the cult-like group that's accused of leaving a trail of violence from coast to coast.
This shouldn't happen to anybody. It's just such a horrible thing.
The group is made up largely of transgendered women who are vegans and are highly concerned about artificial intelligence.
So one of the things that I also notice about these particular suspects right here is that you can't even really tell that they're trans as women. And with a name like Jack Zizian Lasota, there's absolutely no indication of any kind of masculine energy right there. And obviously their concerns about veganism and artificial intelligence, plus the fact that they decided to base their trans women-based cult in the state of California, definitely 100% does not in any way, shape, or form denote any level of left-wing beliefs. I mean, they also targeted a Border Patrol agent, but they were pulled over by said Border Patrol agent. So as of right now, because all of the indicators are pointing to the left wing, I think it's very important for us to talk about this, not as a national story, but even when we do talk about it as a national story, we definitely in no way, shape, or form talk about the leanings of this cult, because they don't appear to lean right-wing, and therefore we cannot discuss them in any way, shape, or form. We must ignore them, we must obfuscate them, we must pretend like the result of this they hunt just uncovered regular ordinary women, because that is exactly what we need to do right now at this moment in the United States of America, because the evil orange man is the president of the United States of America, and he's so bad, so evil, and so orange.
The leader of the so-called Zizians is Jack LaSota, whose network of friends took up residence in California 5 years ago. But it wasn't long before their landlord was stabbed multiple times and later shot to death. Police believe the group is also tied to the shooting deaths of Richard and Rita Zajko, who were killed inside their Media, Pennsylvania home. Their daughter, Michelle, is also tied to the Zizians group.
So this is disturbing for a number of reasons. First and foremost, you had a brutal stabbing of the landlord of one of these Zizian cult members. Ultimately, they ended up shooting this person, I believe, at a later on date, but if that proves to be true, and they just stabbed this person and shot him in the same instance, then I apologize to you guys out there in the audience. It's not exactly clear in all the different articles that I've read what the order of the course of events are, but of course right here we hear about how in Pennsylvania the parents of one of these cult members were actually allegedly murdered by their own child, that is described to us by the media as by their own daughter. And obviously if this person was going through a full transition and they were able to get inside their own parents' home, you would think that maybe, just maybe, that the parents were probably pretty supportive of this transition. However, that did not ultimately end up sparing them from the wrath of the members of this cult. And again, outside of the fact that they're vegan, outside of the fact that they don't like artificial intelligence, if we're being perfectly honest, we don't have a real root ideology at this moment in time. I guess we have to wait for the Netflix documentaries in order to explain why these people are so violent, why they're attacking so many people, because make no mistake about it, 6 bodies in such a short period of time and being so heavily armed is definitely unusual for a cult that just started a couple of years ago.
Their daughter, Michelle, is also tied to the Zizians group. Federal authorities recently launched a manhunt for her arrest.
Once again, local news, we are using the term they hunt. We are not doing the term manhunt. That's absolutely disgusting in every possible way, and shame on you. And by the way, if you're in the LGBTQXXII community, I just want to point out that a lot of these people are identifying themselves as trans as women. They might be in the spaces that you hang out in, so you should familiarize yourself with the people that are still on the loose in case you encounter them, because obviously they've shown themselves to be horribly brutal and disgusting. In this particular instance, we have somebody accused of murdering their own parents, so this is not somebody that you want in your community. If you see them, definitely report them. Don't give them any grace. Again, they are described repeatedly throughout the course of this segment and all these different other various articles as seriously armed and dangerous.
But in Maryland last night, officers found Zajko along with leader Jack LaSota. They were arrested in Allegheny County, where they're charged with trespassing and possession of a handgun.
So as you just heard right there, these two individuals, the leader of the cult, the Jack Zizian Lakota, or whatever the hell this person's name is, and this other transes were arrested in the state of Maryland on misdemeanor charges of trespassing and weapons violations. This is considered a dramatic break in the case because law enforcement has gone on a very large they hunt for these individuals, and they need some kind of break, or they needed some kind of break, and this appears to be it. Now, hopefully, in the state of Maryland, they don't release these people out on bail or bond or anything of the sort. I'm sure that they're putting together the charging documents in order to have them indicted for the homicides or whatever their relationship was to whatever homicide they're trying to charge them with. But yeah, this seems like an absolutely crazy scenario for us to just uncover, and the idea that they were able to kind of get away with this despite the fact that people who were killed were close to them, again, landlord, we had parents and all of that, seems to be absolutely mad in my opinion. But again, we need to wait for the details to come out and possibly a Netflix documentary that was highlighting the specific details of this story of how this cult leader managed to get control over so many people and managed to push them to the point where they were killing, again, within about 5 years of the cult's creation.
The circumstances surrounding their arrest are still unknown, but authorities hope questions about their past will soon soon become far more clear.
We have to stop this. We have to stop this.
So look, obviously right now we are waiting on more details to emerge related to this cult, related to the charges that are potentially related to the killings tied to this cult. But as of right now, I find it very interesting that a story as appealing to the media as a cult story with multiple dead bodies is not gaining the national traction that you would expect. And I think it is largely to do with identity. Also, I will point out that for right-wing media, a lot of times they're not looking around and fishing for these kind of stories or anything of the sort, because many a times in the right wing, they let the left drive the narrative. Again, we're back with Trump in the White House, so a lot of different people are just covering wall-to-wall evil orange man stories, and honestly, I think there's so much that is being missed, just like this crazy cult that apparently has 6 reported victims, maybe potentially more that we will discover later, and has basically rampaged across this country, from California all the way as east as Vermont, with murder sprinkled in along the way, and who knows what they were engaged in the state of Maryland with those weapons and with the trespassing. Who knows the nature of those particular charges, of those particular crime, if they were actually trying to do something even more egregious than they've already been doing, or something in alignment with what they've already been doing. But of course, I want to know your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think about Jeff Abel's blatant and shameful and disgusting transphobia, saying manhunt repeatedly throughout the course of the segment when obviously the theys were being hunted? And do you think they should get a free pass on these crimes because they're going through the gender dysphoria or whatever, and therefore they are above all of us if you really think about it? In addition to that, if they are convicted of the crimes that they are charged with, or will be charged with, or will potentially be charged with, do you believe that they should be sent to a female's prison? Because how dare us ever deny somebody's gender identity just because they're serial killers, just because they're some of the most dangerous people in the entire country? It seems like to me that that all needs to be adjudicated in the comment section of this video, so feel free to have a good time. Now, as per usual, if you like this video, show me by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the trans cult. Till next time.